This is the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show, episode 58 with Steve G. Jones.
The Entrepreneur Unleashed. The Entrepreneur Unleashed. Entrepreneurs Unleashed. The podcast where purpose and passion become revenue streams. Be real. Take a stand. Change lives. Here's your host, Patty Keating.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. I'm your host, Patty Keating. Entrepreneurs everywhere are creating a new breed of business success. They're making their own rules, taking a stand for their purpose, leading through integrity, and making money by changing lives. Join me each week for compelling messages that will inspire and empower you to unleash your true purpose. I am so excited to bring you today's guest, Dr. Steve G. Jones. He is a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist who has been practicing hypnotherapy since the 1980s. He's the author of 25 books on topics such as hypnosis, the law of attraction, and weight loss. Steve has also created over 9,000 hypnosis audio recordings and 22 different online certification programs, which are all sold in over 140 countries. Dr. Steve has been featured on Bravos Millionaire Matchmaker as both a hypnotherapist and a millionaire. And additionally, Dr. Steve has been interviewed on CNN, ABC, NBC, and CBS. He has a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Florida, a master's degree in education, a specialist degree in education, and a doctorate in education. He has also studied psychology at Harvard University. So welcome, Steve. How are you?
Oh, great, Patty. How about you?
I'm great, too. It's so good to have you here on the podcast show today. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about you?
Well, I'm a hypnotherapist. My doctorate is in education, but my undergraduate work is in psychology. And I've been working as a hypnotherapist since the 1980s. And I've created a lot of hypnotherapy recordings, written a lot of books on hypnosis, and taught a lot of classes on it. And I'm happy to be here sharing my knowledge today.
I'm thrilled to have you. I've actually listened before we got together to one of your hypnotic meditations, I think is what it's called. Forgive me if I'm not describing it accurately. Wow, it was amazing. I found myself on an island on a journey.
That sounds fun.
It was great. I highly recommend it to anybody to check out his work. So tell us what inspired you to start your business, Steve.
Well, I've always been interested in hypnosis. I got interested in it when I was a kid. My parents took me to a hypnotherapist. And then in high school, I got a book on hypnosis, started hypnotizing my roommates. My roommates in military school, that is, when I was in high school. And so the business just kind of naturally flowed from my interest in hypnosis that I'd had since I was 10 years old. I just thought this would be a great way to contribute and give back to the world.
Wow. So you knew early on what your destiny was, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think so. And as with anyone, it's shaped by surroundings and input and so forth. But my surroundings happened to be hypnotic. My parents took me to a hypnotherapist when I was a kid, and then I started reading about it, and I was good at it, so I just kept doing it.
How long have you had your business?
My business, it's been in so many different forms. So if we go back to the early days, I guess since the mid 1980s. So what is that, 30 years?
Wow. So as you launched this business, and, I understand how things progress and change and morph. And, as we grow, our business grows. What kind of obstacles showed up for you along the way?
Well, initially there was a distribution issue. In the 80s, we just had cassette tapes, so it wasn't, and we didn't have the internet, and I didn't have the money then to, spend for commercials. So nowadays everything's so easy with the internet, but so things were slow going for about first 25 years, but after that they picked up a little bit. With the internet, it's just so easy now, but the obstacles, we've had so many of them over the years, and I welcome them now. For example, 2000, we had the market crash. because of 9/11. We had, that going on right around that time period. And then we had another market crash in, I think it was 2009 was when we were really feeling the brunt of it. So what we did, we were getting more and more into online sales by 2009. We've been ramping up that for about 10 years or so. And so when the market crash hit, we had to recalibrate. So we started just putting things on sale. And, twice a year now we have a big sale, and it's turned out to be something that works out well. So while people were suffering in the most recent market crash, perhaps we're in another one now, who knows, but the one around 2009-ish, we were actually thriving because we were marking down our products price-wise and increasing the quality by re-recording new, higher quality recordings.
So, I think that's important because one of the questions I have is how did you move through the challenge? And it sounds like you saw the challenge as an opportunity to change things, and you did so, and it benefited you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were just dropping the price down to see, if people would buy at a certain price, and we found out at 50% off, they went crazy. They loved it. So we thought, well, if 50% does well, maybe 60% will do better. And it did. And so then we just kept pushing it to see how far we can go. And we went down to I think it was 95% off, and people went absolutely crazy for it. So I called that the Walmart model, where we have low price stuff. Of course, I like to look at it as the Lamborghini/Walmart model. We're selling Lamborghinis at Walmart prices.
I love that. So what other kinds of challenges did you have? You moved through that, and I really want to illustrate to people the value of seizing those opportunities and learning lessons. Was there anything else that has happened?
Wow. Every day is something new. I mean, we have big deals that fall through all the time. I mean, I have TV shows that call me all the time, and they say, hey, we want you to be on this show. You're going to be the host. It's going to be on a major network. You're going to talk about hypnosis. And then it falls through. So I have that happen probably once a year. But the bright side of that is a lot of the TV stuff I have done, like Millionaire Matchmaker, Below Deck, Door to the Dead was another show that I did. These things have really helped a lot in publicity. So you don't hit every ball you swing at, but you swing enough, and you're going to hit a few home runs, and that's really where it's at. It's really a numbers game. You've got to take every shot that's presented to you. Some will work out. Some won't, but you never know until you take the shot.
Right. I love that. So what's going on right now in your business? What are you passionate about?
Well, right now, we're at an interesting point. A lot of people are saying that there's a market correction that's coming. We saw, Brexit happen. Well, who knows what will happen with that. We are due for a market correction, so we'll probably see ourselves going into Walmart pricing territory again very soon, which for us is great, because when the market goes down and things start to crumble, that's an unfortunate situation, of course. That's a terrible thing, but it is a natural occurrence. Markets go up, markets go down. And so when they go down, people turn to self-help. So we actually tend to thrive in that market. We're kind of like alcohol. People drink when they're happy, they drink when they're sad. The bars are always busy. So hypnosis is kind of like alcohol in that regard. People want it when they're happy because they want to do better. And when they're sad, they want to bring themselves out of the gutter. So we'll probably do well. So I'm not excited about people taking a beating globally with market going down and losing lots of money in their retirement account, but I am excited about how it's going to make us even more resilient and how we're going to get even more creative in our pricing. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about what we're working on with Dr. Joe Vitale. We did the Wealth Trigger 1, 2, and 3, Joe Vitale and myself, and now we've got the Wealth Trigger 4 coming out. Doing stuff with Kevin Harrington, the original shark on Shark Tank, which looks like it's just going to be absolutely tremendous. In fact, he said to me, the last time I saw him was in St. Pete when we were filming, but before that I saw him in New York, and he said, it was last year, he said, let's make $20 million next year. So I said, that sounds like a good idea. So we're really excited about that. He's just a very progressive thinker. And all the other things that we have going on right now, things are just really looking up.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So what's your vision for your business for the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Well, that, of course, depends on the market. Hypnosis falls into the discretionary category. People don't need it. It's not like, toothpaste or food or, things people need. So it's consumer discretionary. That would be the category it'd fall into. So we're at the mercy of the markets, housing, jobs, stocks, that kind of thing, because that's when people decide what to do with their extra money. But we're passionate about embracing that and seeing where we can go and how we can make further adjustments and continue to get people the help that they need.
Awesome. So let's talk about your own personal growth. What's the best advice that you ever received?
Well, I don't know where I got it, but I remember sharing it with somebody. So I'm taking credit for it these days, but as with anything else, I got it from someone else. And that is, keep your eyes on the instrumentation. And what I mean by that is that's something that comes from the world of aviation. And I'm not a pilot, but a pilot was saying that when you're flying through clouds, you've really got to watch your instrumentation. I was flying with my friend Gary, who was also on the Millionaire Matchmaker with me, because I put two millionaires on the same show. So Gary and I were flying in his plane to the Bahamas, and he was teaching me that. So that's where it came from. It was keep your eyes on the instrumentation, because when you're flying through clouds, as any of us are at any given time, you don't know how close to the ground you are. You don't really know if you're level. You don't know much of anything. You're just kind of confused when you're flying through the clouds, as we are at any given time in the economic outlook of the world, or people are at any given time in their personal lives or their job or anything else. We tend to be flying through clouds. And the only way we know what's really going on is by looking at the control panel, the instrumentation. It tells you if you're level, tells you if you're too close to the ground, tells you where you are in relation to other important things like the sky and the ground. So I always say to people, look, you can feel all you want. You can get feelings about this and that all you want, but you've really got to look at data as much as possible. So the best advice I ever received was keep your eye on the instrument panel, because when you think everything's going, well, what is this? Is it a recession? Well, how do these things tend to go? Okay, they tend to go up. Things go up and down. As Jim Rohn said, if you get freaked out when it's nighttime, then you must be new here to the planet, because day follows night. We have day, night, day, night. So we have ups and downs in life. So you've got to look at the overall picture. Where are things overall? That allows you to be calm, not freak out, and make intelligent decisions.
And what about personal growth for you as a result of this journey in hypnosis and business building?
Well, I have come a long way in terms of learning how to deal with people. My thing is, I kind of like what Tony Robbins says, when would now be a good time? Which means, well, why don't we get that done right now? So that's my thought. I'm a very forward-thinking person. I don't understand delays. I don't understand putting things off. I don't understand inactivity and a lack of taking action, taking shots when they're available. But I've realized over the years that I've been involved with people, and it's always a committee. There's a committee for everything. I've realized that not everyone thinks the way I do, but they all have the best interest in mind of whatever we're working on. So sometimes if things go a little bit more slowly, I know that's because certain people are just being more cautious and they're making sure that everything is covered. Everything's covered legally or, functionally if we're launching a new website, or making sure the consumers want it if we're developing a new program. So I realize that there are delays. So the biggest lesson for me has been learning patience.
Yes. Oh boy, the things we learn when we go into business, right?
Oh, yeah, it's remarkable. There's no way anyone could learn it in business school. You just have to jump in to find out.
Yeah, it's the biggest personal growth experience you could ever sign up for.
Yes.
So what about tools and resources? What kind of tools are you using to make life easier? Gadgets? What do you have over there?
Well, I simplify my life as much as possible. I mean, I always drive a new car. I get 2-year leases, so I'm always driving the most current vehicle. I drive a luxury vehicle. I've got Alexa now, which is I just said it, so now Alexa's turned on. It's the Amazon Echo compute. I wasn't able to understand. That's Alexa. That's Alexa talking. Anytime I say the word, I've got her attention. So let's see, what other technology? Just pretty basic stuff. Other than that, use the best quality new stuff for recording, microphone and cameras. I always get the latest iPhone, the latest MacBook Air for travel, the latest iMac for stationary Mac. Everyone I work with also has Macs. I think we have one guy who still likes his PC for some reason, but that's the way it goes. He's 10 years younger than me, but I swear he's actually 20 years older than me. People get stuck in their ways. I like when everything integrates and when it's user friendly and I don't have to be a programmer to use it. So I like using Mac stuff.
Yes, I agree. And what about, books, podcasts, audios, blogs? What are you reading? What are you listening to?
Well, a lot of the podcasts that I like are, first, one of them is called Science Friday, which is really good. They have PhDs and MDs on there talking about the latest research in science. Science Friday is narrated by Ira Flato, a friend of mine on Facebook, and he's been doing that for, I think, 30 years, but it's now in a podcast form. I like the Science Magazine podcast. Science Magazine is a great podcast because, again, they have PhDs and MDs on there. On Sirius Radio in my car and also on my phone, I listen to Doctor Radio out of the Langone Medical Center in New York. Just a bunch of cutting-edge information from MDs about what's going on. So I like the podcasts and broadcasts that are hardcore science. They're by highly qualified people, and they have the latest and greatest information.
I'm hearing that. And innovation, it sounds like, as well.
Oh, yeah. There are things on there that you would just never even think of, like the nanotechnology they're developing with just a few atoms strung together that can form an actual robot, essentially. The technology is just unreal. And the way they're making mechanical bumblebees now, just tiny little bumblebees, and they're going to equip them with cameras. I mean, we are in a brave new world. It's attempting to keep up with what's going on is quite a chore, and I'm fascinated every day I listen to them.
That sounds fascinating to me as well. We will get that into the show notes page for those of you listening so that you can just go click and check out these podcasts or anything else that Steve has mentioned. And you guys can check it out over at pattykeating.com/podcast, and you can search for Steve and you will find his episode right there. So tell us a little bit about, what is the problem that you solve for our listeners and how can they learn more? I know, as I said, I listened to one of your hypnotic meditations is the way I'm describing it. And it was fantastic. And so I would love for people to experience a little bit of your work. So tell us, what kind of problems do you solve for people and where can they learn more?
Well, we have all kinds of challenges we help people resolve. We have about 235 topics that we cover with hypnosis. And this was developed by people just writing in saying, hey, do you have a hypnosis recording for blank? So it starts with things as simple as confidence and motivation. And it gets extreme as things such as overcoming fear of clowns and overcoming fear of frogs, because these things are legitimate concerns for people. So, a lot of people, because of movies like the movie It with Stephen King, are afraid of clowns. I remember Poltergeist, where, the original one where you see the clown on the chair in the child's room, and then you don't see the clown because the clown's gotten up and it's wandering around the room. So people watch movies like that, even though they're just Hollywood movies, and they start to develop fear of clowns. So we have fear of clowns, fear of frogs, which are the most extreme types of recordings, but we also have a lot of mainstream stuff, such as stop smoking, overcome fear of flying, lose weight, gain confidence, gain motivation. And I've got a free full-length hypnosis recording at my website, which is just stevegjones.com.
Great. Perfect. We'll get that in the show notes as well. So looking back, if you were to do this all over again, what would you say to your younger self?
Wow. Well, let's see. Goodness gracious. I would tell myself in the 80s that CDs are, they showed up pretty much in the 80s when I was getting out of high school, so they were already there. But I would tell my younger self, MP3s are coming. If I could do a Marty McFly thing where it gets the sports betting book of all the scores for sports games for the next 20 years or so, and he goes back to his previous self. Of course, the evil Biff gets a hold of it and creates an evil empire. But if I could do something like Marty McFly did, I'd say, MP3s are going to be big. Invest in Apple. That's going to be big. What else? The internet's coming. It's going to be big. I would do my best to explain all these things. I also probably would have, at one point I started to go into pre-med. I was going to go into medical school. I would have done that. I would have at least become a general practitioner. At least I would have done the basics, gone into medical school and become a family doctor or something, because I believe that a lot of the challenges that I run into these days are, is hypnosis legitimate? Does it work? And I know that it does, but as a medical doctor, I believe that I would have been more equipped in life to really push it further. So I decided to start pursuing a PhD initially in psychology. Then I changed tracks once I got into graduate school. I changed it into education since I was more teaching hypnosis at that point. But doing it again, I would have gone for my MD.
Well, thank you so much for your insights, for your contribution to the world, for everything that you're up to. I appreciate it, and I know the audience appreciates it as well.
Oh, Patty, my pleasure. Thanks for making this possible.
Absolutely. If you're a visionary leader who has a message for the world and you're ready to unleash your greatness, you don't want to miss this transformational 3-day event coming up in Portland, Oregon, Unleashed Live, where you will learn the exact steps to find your money spot, that place where your purpose and passion become revenue streams. You'll understand how to create a compelling message that resonates with your unique set of ideal clients so you can help more people, make more money, and create the freedom lifestyle business of your dreams. Head on over to pattykeating.com/unleashed-live to learn more and get registered for the live event in Portland, Oregon. See you there. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. If you did, please go to pattykeating.com and let me know what you're up to this year in your business. While you're there, be sure to grab your copy of 5 Quick Ways to Share Your Expertise.